Hey, this week I had a great chat with Noreen Russell, Dr. Noreen Russell from Russell Coaching Students. And we talked about the autistic brain. So the autism spectrum disorder part of autism. And I just want to reiterate here, as she explained, there's two official criteria of ASDs, the autism spectrum disorder, which I refer to as the autistic brain. One is rigid and flexible habits, routines, interests, and proclivities. I had to look this one up. Proclivities is a tendency to do something regularly or predisposition toward a particular thing. And the other thing there was in there is lack of reciprocal social communication with interpersonal relationships. That's the second part of the official criteria for ASD. And I just want you to sit there and really think about that a little bit. I think, I've been diagnosed with an autistic brain as well as ADHD, and a lot of this stuff is making sense. The rigidity part, the interests, and definitely the proclivities. There's certain things I need to redo. I have to keep doing it regularly. And what really hit me the most was the reciprocal and social communication with interpersonal relationships, or the lack thereof. And that was a big thing that we talked about. And if you think about it, that really sums it up in a nutshell. And that's where we get in a lot of trouble with an autistic brain, is that lack of reciprocal social communication. And what she described is not that it's a problem, it's just that society has been socially conditioned on nonverbal communication, and we are socially expected to have these nonverbal communication, maintaining eye contact, smiling when someone says something that they're happy about, or, saying, hey, instead of saying, hey, where's my ice cream? Hey, how was your day? Did your test go well? Please then ask where my ice cream is. That was an example that Dr. Noreen gave about a story about her kids. Asking for the ice cream right away is not wrong. It's just that's the other thing about the autistic brain. We're very direct. And as she said, the ASD brain, the autistic brain, is wired for blunt and direct communication. And the other thing that the autistic brain is wired for is distilling problems to the root with a ridiculous laser focus. All right, now, I added with a ridiculous laser focus because it's true. We're really good at distilling the problem and taking the emotions out of it and dealing with that. And I really wanted to discuss more around, I learned some new terms I'm going to use more, and I like these: socially expected and socially conditioned. Society has socially conditioned us to, and she was really clear to differentiate between the Western world and the Eastern world, because even the Eastern world, some of their traditions are no eye contact if it's someone of authority or you have a lot of respect for. And that's okay not to have eye contact. But in the Western world, if we don't have eye contact, we're hiding something, or you can't be trusted, or you just don't know what you're talking about. And that's what is social conditioning. So what the world is not socially conditioned for is the autistic brain, the ADHD brain, to thrive openly and to allow those uniqueness to be accepted, right? So we are socially conditioned to expect certain nonverbal communications, which is not really part of the autistic brain wiring, from what I understand from Dr. Russell. It's a brain thing. It's not a you thing. In a way, it's a them problem, and we need to communicate to them how the brain's working differently. And don't use the labels, because they'll definitely dismiss you right away, but use it in a way that you can explain. Like for me, it says, I'm sorry, like I have emotions, I just don't emote them. I don't have it out there to demonstrate to everyone. In a way, that's true, but that's just the way my brain is wired. And for me to be able to go into a shitstorm where everyone's freaking out, making emotional decisions, I have the ability with my autistic brain to just say, dumb, let's get to the root of the problem. I take the emotion out of it so I can make an objective decision, distilling the problem, gathering right information so we can solve a problem, which not everyone's going to like. And it looks like I don't give a shit what other people like, but honestly I do. It's just I don't emote it. But in the end, that's the right decision when we move forward. I am aware that people are not happy. I am aware that it was a difficult decision, but I made it. And we have that ability. So the biggest thing I got out of this was to actually, we need to communicate to everyone that the autistic brain is slightly different and we see things differently. Now, having that said doesn't mean we get away with our bluntness and be completely rude or what's misunderstood as rude. It's just that we got to come to a compromise. We got to find a middle ground. Like I tell people, if all of a sudden, if like I did a couple times that with that conversation with Noreen, I started looking away, thinking. And then I actually now have taught myself to say, hey, when someone started looking at me, I can see in the corner of my eye, they're kind of looking at me weird. I can say, hey, I'm looking away because I'm processing something, I'm thinking something. And then I cognitively now make an effort to lock eye contact for 1 second and then move away, or I take a lot of notes. So if I'm taking notes, even though it's crap notes I'm taking, it looks like I'm paying attention because I'm taking down notes. So a few shortcuts like that. So I really hope you enjoyed the conversation with Noreen. I would have another listen again, and let me know what your highlights were of that conversation. So please email me at André@theimpulsivethinker.com. I would love to hear your insights, and I'm going to have her back to talk more about certain things because it was a great conversation. And the one thing I really want to dive into with her is, like she said, ADHD brain is a go, 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 no breaks, while the autistic brain is stop, stop, stop until I have everything figured out. If you have an autistic brain and an ADHD brain, they clash, and at times they may not work together or they may work for you. But not having that awareness will definitely make me see things differently. And I already know the past where some of that conflict occurs. So I'm going to have Dr. Noreen back to expand on this more because I have a lot of interest in there. So thanks again for listening and learning with me, and we'll talk to you soon.